Hey there, my name is Hannah, and I just wanted to go through some of the best features from GoBoard as a math tutor. Now up here we see that we have some of our most basic tools. We're going to have our video feed and other users who are in the room. It'll show if they're muted, and it'll also show their video if they have it on. Now here you can toggle on and off your mic as well as your camera based off of whatever you need. Here is the option to share your screen. This is pretty helpful, especially on the student's end, so that you can see specifically what they're working on because they're not right in front of you. This last one here is the chat box where people can send in questions or just type in things, which is pretty helpful if you have more than one person in the room with you so that there's not people talking over one another. Now you're going to see two different categories for our tools. We have basic tools and more tools, and I'm going to show which ones as a math tutor specifically come in the most handy. So I'm going to first click on basic tools. Here we get this wheel of tools, and you're going to see that as we're on the inside and we go to the outside, we end up getting more and more specific. So we have undo, redo, pen, laser, which I'll talk about in a second. We have lines and shapes. We have text, and then we have select. So select is what you would use if you wanted to drag something on the screen. Text you would use if you wanted to insert text. This is helpful if you want to type out a question, maybe like a word problem or something like that. But I'll start off by inserting a shape. So let's say that I want to put in a triangle. So I can start off, if I click, it'll insert one, and if I click and drag, it'll change the sizes. Now let's say that I wanted to talk about how to find the area of a triangle. The next tool that would be helpful is the pen tool. So you can select this tool as well as on another device. You can use the pen tool and write as well. So let's say that I wanted to say that this is my base down here and my height right here. And I wanted to say that my area is 1/2 base times height. Now let's say that something is a little bit unclear for someone and they're not sure how to find the base. Now, if you were trying to point to something, pointing is kind of a hard thing to do online. And this is where we get the laser tool. So what I would do here is I would maybe circle the area, and you would get this by pressing down on your mouse or using a tablet or something like that. And you could say the base is what you get from here. And they're going to be able to see that laser pointer and see what you're pointing to so that you don't have to write all over your page. Especially as a math tutor, it's really helpful to be able to gesture where you need or where you got certain information from. Let's say that you were simplifying something and someone didn't know where you got the simplification. Using the laser pointer is a helpful way to point that out. Now, something else that I want to point out is that there are multiple pages. So let's say that I want to keep it to one concept per page. What I could do is rename each of these pages so that I'm able to go back and know what I covered on each one. Now, let's say that on the next one I wanted to go over the area of a square. Then I could add a page and then do the same thing as I did before. So basic tools and then shapes. And then I could go in and add a square. Again, I could write all over it, I could laser point to it or anything like that. And then I would want to rename the page square. So now what I'm going to do is go through a little bit more of the math-specific tools that we have. And these are going to be found under the More Tools section. You see that we have a bunch of different things on the main part as well as a subsection specifically for math. Well, the first thing I'm going to show is the import-export. You can do this or send in a photo or file. Sending in a photo or file is especially helpful whenever you're working with a student because they can send in a picture of their work. So if you click on this, it'll give them instructions, and the image that they send in will actually pop up on the screen itself, and you can even write all over it so that you can help them understand maybe where they're confused or what they did wrong. Now, like I said, I'm going to import a picture because I have one in my library already. So I'm going to insert my own PDF or image, and let's say that I had a number line that I wanted to show. So I'll go ahead and import that, and you can drag it, you can rotate it, and you can send it to the back or to the front. Now again, I'm going to be using that pen tool to write on it. So let's say that I had a solution that was from 4 to infinity. Well, I would have a closed dot at 4, and I would be going out to infinity. So this is a helpful way because, like I said, you can insert images. This is especially helpful when it comes to graphing or things that are more visual because then you can write on top of them. So let's say that for this one, I'm going to say number line. Okay, and on my next page, I'll show a different tool. So we can go into more tools, and something that I feel is especially helpful for math is this graphing calculator. So we have integration with Desmos here, and let's say that we're talking about something like transformations. Well, we have our parent graph y equals x squared. Now let's see y equals 2x squared plus 1. All right, so this is our graph, and what we can do is actually insert that graph right onto the page itself. Again, you can drag it and write all over it. You could be comparing the vertexes or anything like that that you wish to show. So this is another really useful thing, and what I'm going to do is show a few more tools that are specifically related to math. So again, we have all these tools here as well as the specific math area. The graphing calculator is what I already showed. The equation editor is helpful because it helps us put in things that might be seen in some of the upper level maths. So summation, Greek alphabet letters both in lowercase and uppercase. We have fractions and radicals as well as superscripts and subscripts. So I definitely invite you to go in there and see what we have. Then you can go to the more tools again. And we have Wolfram Alpha integrated, as well as this calculator here. So this is helpful in case a student doesn't have a calculator in front of them, or if you want to show how to get something in particular. So we have a scientific calculator from Desmos, which you can switch between radians and degrees. And like I said, having the functionality of a scientific calculator can be really helpful as you're going through. All right, and then again, under our more tools, if I go back through math, we have number lines. I chose to insert it as an image, but you can just insert it right from within GoBoard itself. And then this last thing is the reference library. Now we're gonna have this for math, physics, chemistry, and business, but I'm gonna show the ones for math. We have them divided based off of subjects, so calculus, statistics, and trigonometry. As you go in, you're going to see a bunch of different reference sheets. These could be pretty helpful for your students as they might want to have something in front of them to go off of while they're practicing, or you can use it as a way to quiz them. The next would be statistics, and here you see Z tables, T tables, F tables, and chi-squared tables. The last one is trigonometry, where you have all of your trig properties as well as the unit circle. I find this one particularly helpful when people are learning trig because it's a really helpful visualization of all those points. And then you have the overall reference sheet. Then the last thing is that you can add your own resource. So let's say that there's a visual that you came up with or you like to use in particular, you can add it to your reference library and it'll always be there for your reference. So those are just some of the basic things that I like to use as a math tutor, and I hope you like to use them as well.